I'd like to call this meeting of the Monticello City Council to order. Please rise so we can recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Alderman Burris will lead us in prayer. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So thank you, Father, for once again bringing us together. We ask you to be with our mayor as he's not with us. We ask you to give us wisdom as we make decisions and just be with us, Lord. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Mayor Stoner is absent tonight. May I have a motion to nominate a mayor pro tem?
I nominate Wendell Brock.
Second that.
And that was Mary. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Mayor Pro Tem Brock, would you like to take a seat? I'll start with the roll call when you're ready.
Good evening and thank you. I'd like to start with roll call, please.
Ms. Vogt,
Here.
Ms. Lively. Here. Mr. Denise.
Here.
Mr. Woodham.
Here.
Mr. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Burris.
Here.
Mr. Kuhn.
Here.
Mr. Broderick.
Here.
Mr. Brock.
Here.
And Mr. Piercy. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Public participation, please note the meeting is held in person. It's an opportunity for the public to provide public comment to the presiding officer. Those wishing to speak are required to sign in prior to commencement. They must address the council from the seat and table provided. Public comments must comply with ordinance 21402 and limited to 5 minutes or less. Do we have anyone signed in to you? Thank you. Remote participation, the opportunity for the public to provide public comment to the presiding officer again. Comment must comply with ordinance 2014-02, limited to 5 minutes or less. Members of the public are able to attend public meetings by web conference, submit public comment by email, voicemail, or through web conference. Maura, do we have anyone signed on tonight? Thank you very much. All right, the consent agenda, first item for tonight. This is approval of documents and actions items as listed. The claims report for claims dated June the 27th of 2023 through July 10th, 2023. Meeting minutes, city council meeting minutes, June 26, 2023. The permit report for June of 2023, the fire report for June of 2023, treasurer's report dated May 31st, 2023, and the police report of June 2023. Are there any comments or questions? Chair would entertain a motion to accept those as written.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Vogt,
Yes.
Ms. Lively.
Yes.
Mr. Denise.
Yes.
Mr. Woodham.
Yes.
Mr. Reed.
Yes.
Mr. Burris.
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn.
Yes.
Mr. Broderick.
Yes.
And Mr. Brock.
Yes.
Motion passes.
There is no mayor's report this evening and no old business. We move on to the new business listed. First item is ordinance 2023-37. This is the final plat of Dancing Acres Phase 3 1B, a minor subdivision here in Pike County. Terry, are you addressing that? If you would.
Thank you, Alderman Brock. Jim could not join us this evening, but I did this for 12 years or so. So this is an existing lot. I gave you the final plat this evening, an aerial photograph that has the lot outlined and then the final plat. So this subdivision is simply taking an existing one lot, one parcel, and subdividing it into two. And the reason it's a minor subdivision, a couple of reasons. There are no proposed public improvements for these two lots. And a minor subdivision has to consist of 4 or fewer lots. So this was included in the preliminary plan of the overall Dancing Acres subdivision. If you remember, this is Mr. Lampert's property, and it's going to access off of Old Route 47, go all the way up to that township road that's shown on the north side, and north is up. So this is just simply creating 2 lots where 1 lot currently exists. So it is recommended City Council discuss and approve the final plan of Dancing Acres Phase 1B as submitted.
Any questions from anyone concerning this? Comments? Seeing none, Chair would entertain a motion to accept ordinance 2023-37 as presented. Move. And a second.
Second.
Call, please.
Ms. Boat,
Yes.
Ms. Lively,
Yes.
Mr. Denise,
Yes.
Mr. Woodham,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Burris,
Yes.
Mr. Coon,
Yes.
Mr. Broderick,
Yes.
and Mr. Brock.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Our second item is ordinance 2023-38. This is a resolution for improvements under the Illinois Highway Code. Once again, I guess.
Yes, sir. So the background for this one is, I hope you read, but we have focused on street rehabilitation projects pretty strong since 2015, 2016, including Allerton Road, East and West Marion Street, West Washington Street, Pyatt Street, North Buchanan Street, Independence Street, Center Street, Bridge Street. This year, we're doing North State Street. So this resolution involves approximately $366,000 of Rebuild Illinois funds from the state of Illinois. We are required to pass a resolution. If you're all familiar with IDOT, we get motor fuel tax money, but then we have to ask IDOT on their resolution form to spend that money, and then it's earmarked on IDOT's in IDOT's offices. So this will earmark the $366,000 to go towards the rehabilitation of Grant Street. Hoping to get Grant Street completed next year. We've got some preliminary engineering already done. So if everything goes as planned, Grant Street is proposed to be resurfaced, milled and resurfaced next year. This money must be spent prior to July of 2025. And just for your information, a lot of folks tend to forget how bad Bridge Street was and Marion Street, but the city has spent almost $5.5 million on road improvements. Some of those I mentioned. I did not mention in the memorandum County Farm Road that was done in Fistler Road over there. So we're obviously paid a lot of attention and a lot of money to rehab our streets throughout the entire community. So staff is recommending that we appropriate or we earmark this $366,000 towards Grant Street and approve resolution 2023-38 as presented.
Thank you.
That won't cover all of it. I think the last estimate we got was a little bit over $400,000 total, but we have other MFT money.
Okay. Any comments, questions, suggestions?
Do we lose it if we don't use it?
Yes.
Anybody else? Anything? All right, the chair would entertain a motion to accept ordinance 2023-28, the resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code. Second?
Second.
Was that you, Alderman Coon? Did you second? Okay, thanks.
Call.
Ms. Vogt,
Yes.
Ms. Lively, Mr. Denise,
Yes.
Mr. Woodham,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Burris,
Yes.
Mr. Coon,
Yes.
Mr. Broderick,
Yes.
and Mr. Brock.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Our final item in new business this evening is ordinance 2023-39. This was an ordinance amending Title 11 of the Chapter 111 of the Monticello City Code of Ordinances. This is concerning Class A liquor licenses here in town. Who's to speak? Callie? Please.
Alderman Brock. B&G Spirits LLC, they're here along with their real estate agents. They signed a letter of intent for the 777 West Bridge Street. That's the property that was a Pizza Hut and then DMH occupied. They would like to open a package retail liquor store along with the video gaming machine. So because it's packaged liquor, that requires an off-site consumption, take it to go type of deal. The video gaming requires a pour license. So Class A is the appropriate licensure for that. So they're asking, I know you just reduced a couple at the last minute, not of this class, but they're asking the council to consider increasing that number of 5 to 6. The location itself meets the setback requirements, and then the individuals have also passed the appropriate background checks and everything required for the licensure.
That's all?
That's it.
Okay, thanks. Questions? Anyone?
Give us an idea of what the, how tough it's been to try to rent that space that's been vacant.
I can speak or you can speak. So the challenge, and I think I shared this with you all about probably a month ago, the challenge with that space from our part is that has DMH as a current tenant out to 2037, I believe. It's quite some time. So even though they're not occupying, they're still paying rent. So that's not much motivation for the property owner to sell. That being said, we don't like dark buildings. We don't like buildings that are remaining vacant. We want to see them put into production for, whatever that looks like for you all. So that's kind of, it's not for lack of trying. The price that was put on that, or that the building is listed for, was sold as is listed as an investment property having that long-term tenant. So it's priced higher than I think what a lot of people understand. So does that help?
Is there a design philosophy for this building?
Do you have a design idea in mind for the building?
As in like it won't look like a gas station.
No, it won't be like a gas station. It'll be a straight open area with the sales and the floor.
So will the gambling be separated from the liquor store side?
It'll be within the same room, but I think it's a separate, we can set it up as a separate on the side, inside the building. Those rooms already existing.
Okay, the only reason I'm asking, because on Bridge Street, I mean, that's kind of like an entrance to town. I mean, we don't want it to look like a gas station, sorry.
We're not changing anything outside at all. We look the same from outside, we just have one sign out there, which is existing there. We'll upgrade it to our side, our name. And it's inside, we'll just do delivery running inside because it's a lot of cabins. We just have to turn it into a retail. That's all.
Where do you have other places?
In Decatur, Illinois.
Okay,
About 3.
okay, we're at Indicator.
One on 1975 East Fortune Road. The name is Famous Wine and Spirits.
Okay,
And then we have one in the Colonial Mall, which is on Route 48.
yes.
And we have another one right by Roll King, which is done through South Mountain.
Okay, so as I'm thinking of those, okay, I mean, it's what you would expect to look at. It's not like you're building a destination. It's what you would expect, a packaged liquor with gambling machines. Okay, fair enough.
Anyone else? Questions? Anyone?
Quick Google search of images. They look very clean and well kept.
Okay, Chair would entertain a motion, approve ordinance 2023-39. Anyone?
So moved.
Have the motion, do we have a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. anything right now to go with that?
I don't think so. It happens.
We'll move on to the alderman's reports.
Yeah.
Start on this side. We'll start.
Sorry. No, I don't have.
Anything?
Just a quick question for Terry, I guess. With the storm that came through the other day, we had some major tree downage, I guess, when you could put it. And I think we had discussed inspecting trees, the older trees in the town. And you said there was some sort of budget for that.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can move forward to maybe do some preventive tree removal instead of being reactionary when the storms come through like that?
So we budget, and I don't know the number off the top of my head, for hazard trees, and we have a running list that Public Works guys, whether it's reported in by the homeowner, witnessed by a Public Works crew, whatever that looks like, we have a running list that we tend to kind of as worst comes up to the first of the line. So we do, that's kind of our preventative is as we get through the course of the year, we contract out some of them that we don't feel safe in taking down, whether it's aerial lines or whatever that might look like, or we take down some of them. So we're doing that preventative. And then we also get, I think it's more $10,000 annually for specifically for storm damaged trees. So we do have that list, and we do, I guess we could talk about that, increasing that budgetary. Is it 30,000 more? $35,000 we spend annually on hazard trees. And it's interesting. I was talking to the Public Works director today last week for off and on. Some of the storm damage was live greening trees. They weren't dead trees. It was just.
Specifically, the one I was talking about was the one on Washington.
It
was rotted.
It was rotten.
And it just exploded. I mean, those people that didn't have power till, I think, Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, that one was a bad one.
What happened?
Yeah, I think a Bronco and a travel trailer.
They got really lucky because the tree split and fell down the driveway and in front of the other house.
Yeah, I don't know if that was on the list or not, but we do keep the list, and we do, it's $35,000 a year we spend on tree removal.
Is there a list, or is there, who keeps that list? And
Public
is there
Works
access?
Department.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a list if you want to, I can get it to you.
Yeah, that would be,
Yeah.
appreciate it. That's it.
Anything else? Brian, anything?
Nothing.
Nothing? Ms. Swope?
Just a couple things. I appreciate all the work that went into getting everything cleaned up so quickly. And then also just, I know I've said it before, but appreciate being able to reach out to Terry and Callie with questions. So God love Callie. I didn't have my reading glasses on. And when I was reading about this last ordinance, I'm texting her saying, I don't understand. And she was able to explain it to me. And then I put my reading glasses on and could see very clearly what was listed there. So I just appreciate their availability to us.
Thank you. I think we all do very much. Rod?
Yes, we all do. Nothing else.
Eric?
I agree with her. Well, sorry.
Losing?
In case, no, it would have been a different story if they would have had a business plan. That's my only personal opinion. That's why I asked the questions, but they were just like, so I couldn't say yes.
So whenever a person comes in to request a liquor license, we require a letter of intent. That way we know they're serious about the building. That's basically close to, they put an offer on it contingent upon this action. We try to get into the details of the business plan and everything, but sometimes that's proprietary. They don't want to share that with, the council or whomever, and that's fine. We do try to vet them pretty well before it gets to this point with you guys. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, we already have them at all the gas stations. There's Friends downtown. There's all the bars, the pub. Three Ravens probably even has some. Just, there's too many.
I guess my request to you all, and I've said this before, so please don't take offense to it, but say the comments to the people asking, not after they're gone, because that's the taste they left. Honestly, that's the impression we've given them, is that we basically wasted their time up to this point. At least they'd have some closure if you said, we have too many, and that's totally fine, whether you're for it or against it, that's fine. But I think it would be in good form, and I'm not trying to criticize anybody, but they want that feedback. They want to know, is there something we can do different, whatever the business is, to meet your requirements? Because they're not familiar with the area. They don't know what you guys are thinking. They want to know what you're looking for, what your vision is, and how they can work with that.
Mike, anything?
Well, I think it's time that the city revisits what support we can have for Overheim Park. That's been a few years. I mean, I think of all the investment, and it has nothing to do with it being a sports complex, but, Alderman Woodham and I, we've been around in the area and have seen some of the complexes and are what I would consider competing communities. And it's all the same arguments that we had before. And obviously, everybody here is for. I know when we did the study, we had the committee, there was a recommendation that the city put in some significant investment. That seemed to not get the support of the council to do that. But I think it's time that we revisit that in some shape or form, because I think that's a vital piece. It's a really vital piece in terms of the growth or not growth of our town.
So you're saying beyond the 10 to 12 million that they've already invested as a city, and we've not seen anything else come in from anywhere else. So you're saying we should.
Well, no, we have to revisit that as a plan. We have some, what we budgeted conservatively in CPPRT. Could more of the excess, at the end of the year, go to, or could we figure out a way to do all the non-sexy stuff of all the infrastructure and then hopefully get some, donors or whatever. If the infrastructure is in play, then it becomes maybe an easier ask for private.
Yeah, see, the problem I'm having is maybe. It's been almost 20 years
I know.
and there's no movement other than what the city's been doing.
Right.
And we can't count on CPPRT in the future because the state just came out and said that there will not be as much CPPRT granted in the coming years because of a miscalculation this last year. So good news is we don't have to pay them back. We just won't get it.
Right. And maybe the plan, whatever it is, needs to be altered or what, I don't know but we're in desperate need of those. And so I hear you that we put money in, we haven't seen any benefit of it, but it'd be interesting to hear from Foundation and get some feedback from, I hate for it to lose momentum and just be slid down because it's a vital need.
Understand. It has been a long time. Terry, can you address that to the mayor when he is available, and maybe we can put it on a future list to talk about at a meeting?
I think it's probably, Callie, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably going to be discussed, a comprehensive strategic plan.
Yeah, so your next meeting.
Which will be at your next meeting, second meeting in July. There are efforts behind the scenes, and what I have been educated on is a silent phase. That's not how we operate. It's 180 degrees from the way we operate. So that can be a pretty difficult pill to swallow. But I am, I'm being told by folks that fund rates from the U of I and other educational institutes that you have to do a silent phase and reach maybe whatever percentage of the overall goal. We have not attained that. There's a committee that was formed of some stakeholders of the community, kind of diverse group of individuals. We've worked with Surface 51 to do a strategic fundraising campaign platform. We've got that almost completed if some tweaks need to be made. And some other things are kind of being done behind the scenes. And as soon as we put Overheim Park on an agenda, WCIA and WA&D and other media outlets are in here, and it does nothing good for the campaign. I don't like to say that to you because I want to keep you all in the loop. I've had a couple of council members come and visit me in my office, and I shared absolutely everything that I have. They were told everything. So I would make myself available if others want to, ask me some questions or whatever, but there's efforts being made.
Okay.
I mean, I will say that I was one of those council members that stopped by, and if you have free time, Terry and Mindy were both very welcoming. I think I spent an hour talking with them. They answered every single question I had, and know that they are doing far more than anybody knows because of the way it's at. So hats off to them.
And Mindy has been a mainstay. You talk about a project for 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Because I started drawing up sports complexes, recreational complexes in 2004.
Yeah.
And to stay on track and invested and optimistic, Carlos, Mindy especially, have been a mainstay for that project.
And I think one of the frustrating things too, and I think what Mr. Kuhn is getting at is if we had the crystal ball 20 years ago that said we were going to have this conversation now, we could have paid for this project multiple times over with small bite-sized attack. So now we're sitting here 20 years out going, what do we have to show?
And I hear what you're saying. And please understand, I don't think that I don't for a minute think that Mindy or you or anybody at the office is not working their tails off to get this done. I don't think that in the least. But you may not realize, but there was a lot of work done by our people. When you talk about infrastructure, there's a lot of infrastructure that was done and a lot of equipment was broken trying to do a lot of stuff over the years. I mean, there's been a lot of commitment to the city. So when you start coming back and saying we need to figure out getting more money to this city's worked hard for this thing.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but I sure would like to see some movement.
Yeah, it is my goal to bring something to the council yet this year. Maybe it's during the budget discussions, because we need to do something if we can.
Okay. Well, I've worked this same situation with Terry on a number of other things. I would encourage any of you around the table to have that meeting as Ryan had or whatever. If you can squeeze a little bit of time in, an hour or whatever, and schedule that with him and sit down and talk to him. He's got a lot to offer. I'm sure he'll tell you everything that's out there that he's got. This has been on the table a long time. You know, Rod, all of us know, been out there forever. Funding has always been a problem, will always be a problem. And whether we have to address it from the standpoint of reducing our initial goal, you know, downsizing, whatever you want to call it, a little bit. We do have the piece of property. It is, you know, we've made arrangements to make ingress and egress. We bought property to make driveways and things. We've moved forward. So we need to either, I think, and I'm speaking as a councilman, we need to either continue to make progress, however minor it may be, over a period of time, or we need to say, this is just not going to work and we're going to step aside. We're going to do something else, you know? And we need to make up our mind eventually. And I know Terry will bring to us whatever he has as soon as he can. But I think that's always been the concern. I know for me, and I'm sure for some of the rest of you, is that we just haven't heard anything. We haven't seen anything happen and we haven't heard anything. So my people are asking me, you know, I'm sure as they're asking you, are we going to build this thing or not? Is this going to happen or not? I don't know. I can't tell you that. I don't know, you know, and I don't think, I'm not speaking for Terry, but I'm not sure in his situation that he knows. He knows they want to. He knows the feeling is still there, but I don't know whether it's going to happen. So if you have the opportunity, please call him, schedule an appointment, sit down, talk to him, extract what he has, and hopefully later on this year, we can get some kind of chat about it for where we're at.
And I'd like to add, we are still working on the acquisition of Heartland Pathway, still working on that. And we're still working on the property transfer of the donated property from the Allerton Public Library to the city. So we're working out those details with attorneys.
Sure. Well, there's a whole lot involved in it, you know, and any of you have looked at it know that there's a tremendous amount of legal work involved before you start moving dirt. So, and that's still in process. So anything else from anyone? If not, we'll move on, please, to the police chief's report. Chief?
All right, July 3rd went without too many hiccups. We just had one incident. We shut down Route 47. There's a kid I say kid, a teenager on a bicycle, lost control of it, went inside of a vehicle, had a bump on the head, walked away fine. But since they did shut down the park at about 7:45, we saw no reason to keep funneling people down there. So we shut it down about probably 15, 20, 30 minutes earlier than we thought. Beyond that, we do have 2 conditional hires. They will start the academy in September as long as they pass everything. I'm conducting Alice training at the library here in about 2 weeks. And just a couple shout outs of appreciation. One to the rec department. This has been our 3rd or 4th year that my wife and I have been involved in the rec, and we have a great rec department. The seasonal workers are fantastic. And those kids care. They work their tails off, and I don't know what we pay them, but for what we get out of them, we're getting our money's worth 2 or 3 times over. They're just fantastic kids to have out there. And I know my kids love to have them. The umpires, scorekeepers, concession folk, they're just fun to have out. And another one out to Cali, because I don't know who was in charge of the no-knock list before, but the fact that we had 14 people sign up last Friday alone, that's the most that we've had since I've been here. And please reach out. If somebody complains about solicitors, please have them call dispatch or my office. I had one, I think it was either last Friday, a few days before, had no permit, started knocking on people that were on the no-knock list, ended up costing him $250. So, sorry, Alderman Burris, but the way I kind of explain it to people when they come in for a license, you have the Bible, then you have the no-knock list. Don't violate either. And that, the reason why we're able to catch this one was because someone called us right when it happened. Don't wait 2, 3, 4 days and expect us to try to, backdoor it. And I get more complaints about our no-knock list and solicitors in town than I do probably most other things. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Chief. On to the fire report. John?
Alderman Brock, appreciate it. Last month, we had another 49 calls, so we're a busy month for the fire department. Did a little mid-year review. Right now, we're on pace to do, up till now, we've done 255 calls, which is on pace to do 510 calls. Last year, we did 376 calls, so we're way ahead of last year. Training, as of the end of this month, we had 1,155 man hours of training, which would pace out to about 2,310 for the year. Last year, we did 1,400 hours of training, so our guys are doing really good training and keeping our people safe, keeping the community safe. The training we did last month in July or June, we did pump training. We take one of the engines out, we can hook up to the fire hydrant. Sorry to Scott, sometimes we mess up the hydrants, but we try to open it slowly so we don't get too many complaints. But we need to practice using the hydrants because we don't get that many fires in town, but when we do, we got to be ready to do it. It's not just hooking it up and turning it on. There's a lot of work involved in that. So we got to practice that over and over. We have new members, so we got to keep practicing that. The second week we did a fire service vehicle operations driving course. Every year we have to be certified that we can drive the engines. So we set up a obstacle course at the old camp field, the old General Cable, and parking lot with cones. And we got to back up, drive in, back up, do all sorts of different things with our fire engines so that everybody is capable of certified to use it. So we did that. Then the last week, which was the third week in June, we do all our equipment maintenance, go through all the trucks, start everything up, make sure everything's running, make sure everything has proper gas and oil and everything starts. And then we did a tour of the high school. Buzz Seavers took us around again. And so we could kind of get an idea how the launch system works and a little bit where everything's at. There's a lot of new things going on at the school, so it's always good for us to do that. Some extra stuff we did, we were at the Horizon Fest for 3 days filling their water tanks, and it was a big deal out there. It's pretty neat. We did Movie Night on the Square on June 10th, and then we provided some medical coverage at the Trailblazers Rodeo the 22nd, 23rd, 24th. That's all I have, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief, very much. Move on to the administrator's report. Terry, anything tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Brock. I don't know if you, Fire Chief, if you communicated the hydrant exercising
I did.
with Callie and the front, Scott, and the front
I
desk.
did text him. Wanted me to, so I did.
Yeah, Callie can put that on social media. And then the front staff, if the water has issues in a water main, the front staff then can answer the phone calls and explain the possible reason why. So you might want to just keep that in mind when you exercise the hydrant. And then brush pickup. I think I can't say enough about how well it has gone. It is, and we still poured curbs on State Street a couple of days. So I think Director Baker and the rest of the gang did a whale of a job, and they're not done. There's a couple of folks, Jim Grabarczyk and Clayton Dobson, that are work in City Hall, spent most of last week and today and probably tomorrow assisting with the Public Works guys, processing the brush and driving a truck. So kudos to those, all those guys, that whole department. and you still have a plant to run, 2 plants to run, you still have Julie's to do. And we have a deadline for State Street before the paving crew comes in. So a whale of a job. Again, I believe the concrete subcontractor for State Street project is going to saw cut tomorrow if things go as planned. They brought in some signage for the lane closure on the north end of State Street by Lone Beach Road. So you'll see some activity. It'll be slow with the contractor and subcontractors to begin with, but once they start pouring concrete and milling and paving, it'll be a mess out there for a while. So I can't say enough. I know the journal's not here. I can't express enough for folks. Take some other route. There's more than one way to get there from here, I can tell you. That's all I have.
Okay, I see the incinerator's fired up again. I'm assuming it's working as best it can. And I was going to throw in something on my part. What's the status on our rehab on the water tower? Have we got a time?
Yeah, somebody else asked. I got with Scott Bailey, the plant operator, and it's a couple of months out, maybe 3 months out.
I think he said
September. I think early September is when they're supposed to be in.
Fair enough.
And I asked Scott if they could squeeze us in a little sooner than that, but I haven't heard back from him yet.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
One thing, just comment about, when we talked about the road improvements, having the new garbage situation actually help, I guess, in terms of road condition, in terms of wear and tear, the fact that they only go through one time.
Yep. I mean, one truck going through is less than 3 trucks going through or 4 trucks going through. Because I remember the day I was standing in my garage and we had 3 waste haulers and it was a parade that went down my street.
Yeah.
Literally one after the other, after the other. Now there's one.
I have streets like that, still.
But now you have only one that comes through
There's one
per
truck.
week, yeah.
Mm.
I guess 2 for recycling, but that's got to really help on the wear and tear.
You can ask Main Street that. That's like whack-a-mole when you drive down that one.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. There was probably next. But thank you. That's good. I think that's worked out really well.
Anything else? Anybody?
Website update is wonderful, very user-friendly. Love it.
Be ongoing for a while, but
Yeah, but
It worked.
it worked. Yeah, that's the key.
it's.
Anything else from anyone? Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.